Hi there, my lovelies. Not really happy at the moment. Hope everyone is staying safe and healthy. That's the main thing, and doing as they're told. But I think you know where I'm going to be going with this one today. There's a lot of people that aren't doing the most basic of instructions, and those people are dickheads, selfish and utter dickheads. I've seen various reports from the news yesterday of parks having like 3,000 people there sunbathing and having picnics. I've had reports from local news down where I come from, Sussex, saying that the police had to issue fines to people having barbecues on the beach and on Hove lawns, and had to move on loads of people from the beach across the Sussex coastline, and pretty much the same thing everywhere with parks and stuff like that. What is fucking wrong with these people? Seriously, it makes me so angry. What part of 700 odd people dying in one fucking day does it not make this situation serious that you have to do as you're fucking told? All we're being asked to do is stay indoors. Pure and simple. Go out for the essentials. Go out for a bit of shopping, an hour for exercise, and that's it. People can't be bothered to do that. It's not that they can't be bothered. All these people whining and whinging about is taking away their civil liberties. Well, think about families that have had some of their loved ones taken away with this absolutely horrendous virus. That's far more important than you not being able to go out drinking a bottle of wine with your dickhead friends next door because you can't all stay indoors. I don't know how much the government can go on trusting people to do the most basic of things and they're still not doing it. The government are so desperate to not put us on absolute out and out 100% lockdown. They really don't want to do that. They're just hoping that people will have a bit of common sense and just apply the very, very basic things we've been asked to do. Let's face it, we haven't been asked to kind of just shut ourselves in a room and not come out for 3 months. We've just been told, unless it's really essential, don't go out. All these people, I haven't got a back garden, I haven't got this. Well, some people haven't got their fucking relatives anymore because they've died. So think about that, you selfish morons, before you fucking start going out and about causing more aggravation for the police and the authorities trying to move you on. I think now it's got past the stage of asking the police to be involved. Unfortunately, there is a large element of society that have no respect or regard for the police force at all. I don't want to get into an argument about that because I know there's very many arguments why people have got a negative opinion of the police. But at a time like this, that goes out the window. Like your political preference of who you voted for in a election. That's got nothing to do with this at the moment. It doesn't matter whether you're Liberal or Labour or Conservative or Green or UKIP. It doesn't matter what you fucking voted in the elections. The government are the government of who that's in place at the moment. It's got nothing to do with, well, I'm not following them because I'm a Labour supporter and I'm not being told to do what by Conservatives. It's got fuck all to do with that. You tell me one leader from the past 50 or even 100 years that would have coped with this far better than how it's being coped with at the moment. We've got a Prime Minister in place at the moment that, let's be honest, and I'm one of them, thought was an absolute joke before he came into the role. He made a arse of himself in front of the TV and in various kind of different places. But hats off to the guy. He's stepped up. He's become our he's become our prime minister, and he's come in and dealt with something that no prime minister in the history of this country or the history of the UK has ever had to deal with before. Yes, we've had prime ministers that had to deal with world wars, but nothing along this line, nothing along this line of a killer virus. And let's not beat her out of the bush. This is a killer virus. It is killing people. It isn't people just having a bit of a snuffle and a bit of a cold, feel shitty for a couple of days and then get over it. Over the last 4 or 5 days, 600 to 700 people a day are dying. Not 700 people have died altogether. Yesterday, over 700 people died in one day. And these fucking selfish dickheads that still want to go out and still want to go and socialise and have a bottle of bloody wine in a park with their friends and have a barbecue and take their kids out and go paddling in paddling pools and in rivers and ponds, or go down to the beach, want to totally disregard that. They want to bury their head in the sand as if that hasn't existed. Well, it has fucking existed. These people are dead. And it's not, and it's not like, oh, well, it's not my fault that that didn't happen. It could be your fault that happened. You could be carrying it. You may have already had it and not known, and then you, being a moron, walking around in society as if there's nothing wrong, are just blissfully spreading it around to everywhere. So it isn't down to being told by a government that you never voted for, I'm not doing what I've been told. That all goes out of the window now. All the political parties are all working together now as one. I know there are some MPs that are doing point scoring and stuff like that. The time for that it's not a time for that. It's not a time to say, well, we're a better party than you. Everyone's got to fucking work together on this. But unfortunately, we have got that dickhead element of society that whenever they're told to do something or not told to do something, will always do the complete bloody opposite because they're just twats. Let's not muck about with these people anymore. Let's deal with them firmly and shut them down straight away. So take the police out of the equation. Unfortunately, as I said, the police, they do have not a high regard and a lot of respect from a large number of the population. And I say I don't really want to get into the argument about that. So let's take the police away from them and get them to do something else to help with this cause. It is now time, and I'm not being sensationalist when I say this. Bring the army in. I'm sorry, but you're going to have to put the army on beaches, in parks, doing patrols. And if anyone is out and about and not doing what they're meant to be doing, they've got to be dealt with like that. Taken off the streets, forced back into their house, given that fine and warned. If you come out again, the fine will double and you could risk going to prison. That's the only way you can do it. In actual fact, where we've converted the Excel Centre in London into the Nightingale Hospital, which is fantastic, in 2 weeks to have that hospital up and running, is just a sheer testament to how hard people are working to try and sort this situation out. However, what we need to do now is find another large venue similar to that and turn it into a holding pen. And these people that are refusing to do as they're told and refusing to adhere to government instruction and are putting people's lives at risk by doing what they're doing, stick them all in a holding pen and keep them there until this whole thing has blown over, because they can't be trusted in society. They could be the very reason why things are escalating the way that they are. The sad thing is, I've looked at the statistics today, and the new cases, not people already in hospital, but new cases of coronavirus being reported has dropped by nearly 1,000. But all that hard work that the NHS has been doing and everyone else has been doing is going to be wrecked by this weekend and the next couple of days next week, when it's going to be hot, by fucking idiots going out and sunbathing and treating it like it's a fucking bank holiday. It's no holiday. Believe me, it's no holiday. I did post something on Facebook yesterday, having a bit of a rant, kind of. I just felt I had to say something. And I can't stress this enough. It's bloody hard not being able to see your family face to face, touching them, kind of within touching distance of them, giving them a cuddle, giving the grandkids a cuddle and a kiss and stuff like that. It's fucking heartbreaking and it's doing me in. But I know I've got to do this because I want to keep them safe. I want to keep myself safe. I want to keep everyone else safe. So we get to a point where this whole thing, we've got through it all and we can kind of go back to normal. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. It's hard, but it needs to be done. And sometimes in life, you have to do things that you don't really want to do, but you have to do for the greater good. And that's what this is now. But these people just seem to think they can just carry on because they're fucking indestructible. Oh, I'm never going to catch the virus. I don't care. It's other people's problem. It's not mine. It's everyone's fucking problem. And it's for everyone to do something about it. There are people in hospitals dying of this virus. There are people in hospitals risking their lives hour after hour, day after day, to try and get people well and to try and get people through this. And they're risking their own lives. We have had, tragically, people that work for the NHS, doctors, nurses, dying of this because they're catching it from people they're treating. But these fucking idiots want to disregard that. Oh, it hasn't happened to me. It doesn't happen to me, so I don't care. Well, we need to do something about these people. We need to give them a short, sharp shock. And that's why I'm saying bring the army involved. Get the army involved. I read an article that someone posted on Facebook that the president of the Philippines has taken it that seriously. And I'm not suggesting we go down this line, down this line, but he has actually told the authorities in charge in the Philippines, if anyone blatantly breaks the rules that they've set about isolation to do with the coronavirus, they're allowed to be shot. So he's taken it, okay, a bit drastic, but he's seen the seriousness in it and has decided that some people need to be given a bit of a fright. Now, probably they're not going to be shooting people on the streets, but the threat that it's there will probably work in that country. I wouldn't suggest we do it in this country, not for a second. But I do believe we do need to send the army out and sort these people out. People would have a different opinion if they were approached by someone dressed in battle fatigues or dressed in camo, armed to the teeth, telling them get the fuck off a beach or get the fuck out of a park. They ain't going to argue. They're going to get out of there. However, if a community police officer goes up and says it, that threat isn't there so much, and most people are going to stand there and tell them to jog on, and that's what's happening now. I've seen videos posted online and I've seen videos on Sky News where the police are trying to tell people to disperse and go, and the people are literally sticking two fingers up at them as if there's nothing wrong. There's a video clip I've seen of a van driving through a park saying to people, please no sunbathing, please no barbecues, it's exercise only and out. And people are just watching the van drive past, taking absolutely no notice and carry on doing what they're doing. Can you imagine the power of that message being given out if it's someone driving through a park in a fucking tank or a jeep with bloody dressed in camo, armed to the teeth, shouting at you, get out of a park? I think a few people would shit themselves and do as they're told. And the army should be given the power to arrest people on site that won't comply. And they should be put somewhere. They should be put in a detention centre or a holding pen somewhere and told, you are a danger to society. You aren't being allowed out until we know that it's safe for you to go out. And I know it seems harsh, but these are harsh times. I don't want to die. No one wants to die. No one wants anyone in their family to die. So we need to take desperate times, desperate measures. The police, unfortunately, are facing an uphill struggle trying to enforce this. The army, however, it's a totally new thing. Most people alive now wouldn't remember the army or soldiers patrolling streets in London and stuff like that to make sure people were safe. Only people probably remembering the Second World War would remember kind of like the Home Guard and people like that patrolling the streets, telling people to put lights out and stuff like that. But if it needs to get to that stage where we do have the territorial army and people like that patrolling the streets to keep people in, I'm all for that, because I'm conforming. I'm doing what I'm told to do, and I know the majority of you watching this are doing what you're told to do, because I see you. I talk to you on Facebook. I see you posting on Facebook. I've talked to you on House Party. I've talked to you on Twitter and stuff like that. And most people in the majority are doing what they've been fucking told to do. It's just this element of society that always want to rebel. It's not helped by the fact that idiots from it's not a charity as such, but an organisation called Liberty that like to campaign for human rights are now saying that people have got a right to go out whether they like, whether the government like it or not, because you're taking away people's civil rights and human rights by telling them that they can't go out. Are these people not watching the news every day at 5 o'clock and seeing that over 600 people a day are dying? And this is a serious matter, and it's not a case of the government are doing this to control us. You know, all these conspiracy theories, this isn't a control thing by the government. This is a very, very real, serious situation where people are dying. They're not inventing these people dying. It's not fake news. It's not something they've invented just so the government can have a bit more power and control people more. This is real. People are dying because of this, and people are sitting there burying their head in the sand, blaming everyone else other than themselves. You know, you've got morons pulling down mobile phone masts because some idiot posted online that the new 5G masts and the 4G masts are helping transfer the coronavirus around people. So people have been pulling down radio masts for mobile phone networks. This is the very thing we need to keep going. We need the mobile phone networks and the Wi-Fi and the broadband networks, because that's how we're all talking to each other now. These morons want to go pulling it down because they say that that's to blame. The reason to blame for this virus is humans spreading it and not doing what they're told. It's got nothing to do with mobile phone masts. It's got nothing to do with the government making this up to control us. The conspiracy theorists need to fuck off, to be completely honest with you, because it isn't a conspiracy theory. This is fucking real. And I don't know about you, but it is scary. Even just nipping out for 5 or 10 minutes or whatever to go out and get essentials like bread and milk. I generally walk around thinking, I really hope I don't come into contact with anyone. I really hope there's that space there so I can stay 2 meters away from people, and you can literally see each other when you're walking down the street and someone's walking towards you and you're walking towards them. You're both kind of thinking, well, I better cross over because I don't want to walk right past them, and they're thinking the same thing. So genuinely people are scared by this, and quite rightly so. We shouldn't take this lightly. We shouldn't all walk around being in a permanent state of hysteria, but we need to take this seriously. On a positive note though, there are so many people out there and so many people wanting to help this situation and coming forward and doing things for free. You're not being charged for these things. All these things that are appearing on YouTube and on Instagram and stuff like that, where you can kind of do things online and interact with people online, and concerts online, and various comedians doing little mini gigs online, and artists performing live concerts online and stuff like that. All these things are free. You're not paying for these things. I know Netflix isn't free. I know Amazon isn't free. I know Disney Plus isn't free. Maybe they should make them free. Maybe to encourage people to stay in, we need to give them something as an incentive. So maybe Netflix, Amazon and Disney need to all get together and go, do you know what? How about all of us agree for the next 3 months, none of us charge for our services. So no one's getting an advantage over anyone in any way. Because at the moment it shouldn't be about profit. Companies shouldn't be thinking about how much money they can make during this crisis. They should be thinking about what can we do to make a difference. And big companies like Amazon and Netflix and Disney and BritBox and all the other kind of online subscription services, and Sky, even more importantly, could make a difference to this. They could all come together and go, do you know what, let's all agree for the next 3 months we make everything free. So people have got a wealth of things that they can look at online, or if they've got a smart TV, to keep them occupied. And a little thing like that, okay, they're not going to make as much money, but there's no point making loads of money if somewhere down the line 250,000 people are going to be killed because of this. Then what was the point of making money? It should be about what anyone can do to help other people. Basing it on that, footballers are getting a bit of stick at the moment because of the high wages they're on, and they're being asked to take pay cuts for various reasons. Some is to kind of put money back into football so the smaller clubs don't disappear and don't go out of business, which I'm all for. Football isn't just about your top 6 teams. It's about the lower league teams. It's about the non-league teams. That's what keeps football going. That's what keeps football open to the masses. You may not be able to afford 50, 60, 70 quid to go and watch a Premier League game live, but you might be able to afford 10, 15 quid to go and watch your local team knocking around in the lower leagues. So we need to do something in place to keep that going and to not let teams go out of business. But everyone needs to start stepping up. There are various other jobs and roles within this country where people are paid an absolutely ridiculous amount of money And they need to be put pressure on to say, I think you need to take a pay cut as well. Bankers for a start. I would also start with the egotistical twats that that work in the press, the journos, the journalists, people like your Robert Pestons and your Laura, whatever, Kunersberg, or whatever you pronounce their name, that ask the most ridiculous and banal questions after the daily update at 5 o'clock. And they keep asking the same questions again and again and again. And they get the same answers, and they keep asking again, and they keep asking questions that they know there isn't an answer at the moment. So why keep fucking asking them? But aside from that, people like Peston and Laura, whatever her name is, and other big named journos are paid a lot of money. Why aren't they taking pay cuts and putting their money towards something? Why aren't we looking at the likes of Branson, that is a £780 billion profit, but has decided that all his staff are going to be made to take 8 weeks unpaid leave, and he's going to ask the government to help support him financially? You greedy fucker. No, you should be told you've got enough money to survive. You don't need the help that the small businesses need. So jog on. And it's people like him that are looking at this and going, oh, I could get a bit of money out of this. No, you shouldn't be looking at that. I haven't seen him once offer any kind of assistance in this situation, even though he's a man of extreme wealth and extreme power. He could jump in and help. He isn't. He's just asking the government to help him, which is fucking ridiculous, bearing the amount of money that he makes. The same thing with the guy that owns the Weatherspoons chain. They made a huge profit pre-March, and then he decides to sack all his staff off, and he's not going to pay them, and then has to do a massive climb down and decides that he has to because of public pressure and people getting on his case. Well, bloody right they should get on his case. So perhaps these journalists that need to cut their £100,000 a year jobs, maybe even go as far as MPs maybe taking a pay cut. I think the average MP is on about 60k a year. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm sure you could get by on 40 and take a 20 grand pay cut. If all the MPs in the House of Commons all took a 20 grand pay cut, and they lump that all together, that's going to come to millions upon millions of pounds that could be put towards getting us through this. It could be put towards getting more assistance for the NHS, or building something to help treat these people that are coming down with this virus. There's so many factors in society that are being forgotten about, but people are pointing fingers and saying, well, why aren't you doing this? To defer attention away from them. So perhaps the MPs need to be stepping up. Perhaps it starts from Boris coming down. Perhaps he needs to come forward and say, I am paid a wage to be the Prime Minister. In actual fact, though, I'm going to take a pay cut, and my money is going to go back into society to help with this. And then all his cabinet do the same. Because if you lead from the front, people will follow. And that's the main thing. You know, at the moment, unfortunately, and I hope he does get well, you know, it's got nothing to do with my political preference, but I say it's not a factor at the moment. But I do hope Boris gets back to full health, because there was something about him coming out with the same guy, Matt Hancock, and the guy that came out from the medical office at is it Chitty? Them three coming out day after day. There was something kind of I don't know, I'm trying to think of the word I would use. Just something kind of reassuring about it, that the same three people were coming out and giving you messages each day. I think what we need to start doing now, classic example, I saw this yesterday. BBC News, kind of just after the 4 o'clock update. The newsreader that they had doing the news, Kate Silverton, how positive she was doing that broadcast. Yes, she had to give us bad news, but she also made a big thing of the positives about things, and actually spoke about her own home life with her own kids, and how they were driving her mad at home, and that she was trying to find ways to keep them occupied. And by seeing an article on the news, have now given her ideas to go home and help look after her kids and to help keep her kids entertained. And that's the kind of human element we need. People connecting with us directly. And I give a major thumbs up to the BBC last night for having her do that news bulletin, because it felt so positive. You were actually thinking, she's in the same boat as us. She's trying to keep kids occupied, and she's watched an article and gone, do you know what? I'm going to go home and try that with my kids. So we need more positivity. You know, we do need to be told the latest update, and we do unfortunately need to be given the sad figures of how many people have passed away. But now we need to start being told how many people are going into hospital, getting treated and being sent back out again well. We need that figure. We need to know how many people have been cured. We need to know how many people are now back home that aren't suffering anymore, because that's going to give us hope. That's going to give us something to kind of cling on to, and something for us to look at and go, you know what, there are people that are coming out of this. It's not just wiping everyone out. You know, there was a story I read that a woman of 102 was shown coming out of hospital getting over coronavirus, and on her way out, while she's being pushed out in a wheelchair, she's telling all the staff in the hospital to stay safe, and thanking them, and you know, and saying to the camera, everyone needs to stay safe so you don't end up where I was. And she's 102, and she's pulled through this. So you know, it is doable. We just need to kind of, you know, do as we're told. Basically, you know, every ad break while you're watching TV is a message from the government telling you stay at home. And I don't know how people can't understand it, and I don't know how people aren't getting the message. So hopefully, you know, not just the people that I know watch this video, but maybe someone shares it and other people start watching it, and other people go on and do videos similar, getting that message out there that we need to stamp out the dickheads. We need to sort these people out, and we need to all come together and stick with what we're doing. And we will get through this. I've said this before and I say it again. We will get through this. It might take a bit longer, unfortunately, because of said dickheads. But we will get through this. And then when we do all come back together again, and we all can come back together as a society, and we can all socialise with each other, we can all sit there and talk about the fact that we came through probably one of the hardest times that this country's ever had to face in its existence. And we've all come through it, and we can all learn from it. And things are going to change forever after this. There are certain things that are going to not go back to how they were before. And we are going to have to kind of gear ourselves up for that fact that certain things are probably going to change forever. But maybe they're going to change for the good. Anyway, can't stress enough. Please, please stay safe and healthy. I want to be able to do these rants and these videos, and the same people watching them today are going to still be watching them in a week's time and in a month's time and whatever. So I can't stress enough. Stay at home. Stay healthy. And just do as you're told, for fuck's sake. And if you do see someone out in the street who's being an idiot, perhaps not, but you know, perhaps tell them what they're doing, make them aware of what they're doing, and stay safe, people. Peace out, my lovelies.